Jim, let's get away from
Yes.
that. Of course, some great deals don't last forever. Some programs do. Let's talk about WWE Raw last night as we are recording.
Well, it was the big one. Brian, I got it right down here. It was SRO at MSG in NYC because they could only see him one more time. And then they couldn't see him anymore. This was a fucking crowd. First of all, at the top of the Raw program, it's November 17th. They were in the Madison Square Garden up there in the New York City, the Big Apple. The aerial shot of New York gave me anxiety just to look at it. That's what I can't get the image out of my mind that whenever I'm in New York City, I'm in the middle of that. And it is miles and miles of miserable, time-consuming travel for me to get to a goddamn place with a bunch of fucking room and some trees. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies is what it does. That's a big city. It's just plain large. Well, that's all I got.
Yes, it is. Some of us did do that. Move away to a place of our own with a bunch of trees.
Yes, but it's just you're trapped.
The heart of Manhattan, Madison Square Garden. Although you wouldn't know it unless they told you, because it just does not look like Madison. I've never seen as long a walkway to the ring as they had there for Madison Square Garden.
Well, what they did was traditionally in the Garden, the guys came out the side. And it was a short walk to the ring. And people think at WrestleMania 10, Brett and Owen, whatever, the right across from the hard camera, it was a short walk. Back in the old days, that was because they didn't want the talent to have to walk that far through the people because the heels would get fucking stabbed. But then and the locker rooms are right behind that the boys use are right behind that area. So it's always just been a shorter way to do it, but they wanted to accentuate this crowd because they had almost no entranceway at all. It was just at the very end of Madison Square Garden, they had, what was that, a 15-foot high video wall that stopped so that the people in the bleachers above it could see over it. And that's even when Cena came out. He was like, well, there are people everywhere. They wanted to accentuate that crowd. They got as many in there as they could. I don't know if we have official word, but it had to be with that size entrance somewhere between 17,000 and 18,000, would you not think?
They made Madison Square Garden look bigger than it could be. I mean, it didn't look like Madison Square Garden. And again, a lot of it is, like you said, the construction, the locker room moved, the exit sign's not there. But they made it look, I'm thinking, even if you could put in a long runway, where the hell would it be that it would be that long? But yeah, it looked impressive.
Yeah, but nevertheless, they had shots of, Paulie and his bunch get to pull in the building and get out of their SUV, but Cody was shaking hands outside. I've told you what it used to be like. You could, if you were a babyface, you didn't dare go out on the fucking streets. But anyway, they played the package of Cena winning the Intercontinental title, and then the big Cena chant had already started, and they played the music. It got a big pop. And here comes Cena, and he had them. This was another one. They were here to see the big last MSG appearance. They could have shit in the middle of the ring, and it wouldn't have mattered. And the chants and cheers got louder and louder as they went on, and he didn't over milk it because they were doing it anyway. He was, he didn't do anything to discourage it too much. But the whole thank you, Cena, after the big introduction, the last Raw, the last Garden. And then all he had to do was thank them. And, it's you that I should say thank you to. And now the champ is here. And they chanted some more. And then before he had time to start his heartfelt speech, and it sounded like he was really going to say something profound. Dominic's music plays. And here he comes, and I don't know how long that entryway was, but he milked that goddamn entrance. He was chewing his gum and just, wandering on down. And the people were on him because he's spoiling the moment. And this, I think probably the Cena retirement, Brian, before we go any further, what do you think? Has the Cena retirement done any more for anybody than Dominic so far?
Big night for AJ Styles. Cody beat Cena for the title, but again, Cena beat him, and Cody's booking has never recovered from everything with the beginning of the Cena heel turn.
But I mean, did more for, because I mean, with AJ Styles, it was a good match. Yeah. AJ's already been there and he's retired next year.
The Punk match was a really good match, but it didn't do anything for Punk. Yeah, I guess you could say Dominic's the one guy on the roster, the young guy. He's in his 20s that Cena did anything for on this run.
And so naturally, it doesn't have to be brain science or rocket surgery at this point. Dominic wants a rematch. Cena asks the people, do you want it right here, right now? Of course they do. And Dominic says, no, I'm not doing it your way again. I'm doing it my way. And then the fans chant, shut the fuck up. And Cena says they're saying Choco Fun Cup.
That was good.
It was good, but they bleeped him anyway. And Dominic wants the title match at Survivor Series in San Diego, his home turf, and Cena agrees, but I got to have a match tonight and I see an opponent, so no title, just face me one-on-one right now. And the music plays, and here comes Finn and JD. And I know what they were doing, what they had to do. They're putting John in a 6-man tag so the people get to see his comeback and his moves and a people pleaser like they're about to do. But boy, when Finn and JD came out, people weren't like, they were kind of like, ah. But I mean, they made it good, and it ended up just fine. But they have the 3-1 on Cena, but then the music plays. Here comes Sheamus, and he makes a comeback, but they stop him. And then here's the music, and Rey Mysterio is out, and the baby faces dumped the heels, and Cena challenged for the 6-man tag, and the referee hit the ring, and the bell rang, and we went to break. But at least we've set it up, and 20 minutes is about over 20 minutes. But it was great because it's a completely sold out mass of people in Madison Square Garden going bonkers and ape shit for John Cena. Last time, it's good television. Dominic gets the rub, and we set him up in a 6-man tag with 4 people that we could. Well, Ray is fine, but the other people we could take or leave, but it is what it is. How do you tell me? What did you think?
I enjoyed the energy. I love the Dominic Cena thing. It's another. Other than Ray, has Dominic had another veteran that he can kind of talk to the way he's talked to Cena? It makes it ridiculous, but it also just works perfectly.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed that. Setting up the 6-man was a bit deflating. Before we talk about that, the question I have for you, what do you do now in San Diego? Dominic versus Cena for the Intercontinental title. Is it as simple as Dominic wins it back as Cena's going away?
Therein lies the problem, because the last time is now. The last actual match is going to be December 13th on the Saturday night's main event, which is obviously not going to be, and we've talked about this, as important an event now that it's just on Peacock, whatever, than a big show like Survivor Series. At the same time, I was thinking Gunther's going to win this tournament, and maybe Cena puts Gunther over on the way out. But now Cena's got the Intercontinental title. Is that a way to get the Intercontinental title back to Gunther so he has some bragging rights? We haven't established whether or not that would have to be for the title now. But I don't I don't think it hurts Dominic to lose in San Diego. Oh, it's too close to my hometown. And I think it would be, I don't know, it'd be kind of blah if he just won it back. But does he do something to hamper Cena for his very last match in the process of getting disqualified or coming up short from actually winning the belt? But I don't think that it's necessary for Dominic's long-term success that he has to win in San Diego. But I wouldn't have John lose his last two in a row, because then it makes it, each one mean less.
Good opening segment. We'll see. I mean, other than Gunther, is there anyone else in the tournament you'd want to see in a John Cena last match? I don't know. One last question about this and we'll move on. If Gunther put over John Cena in his last match, does it hurt Gunther at all?
I don't think it helps him, and I think they probably wouldn't make the winner of the tournament Gunther if he wasn't going to beat Cena. I don't see why you would. They could have figured out something else to do.
All right, Jim, well, let's continue on with Raw.
What? The tag team match. That's where we're at now, playa. And I mean, it was what you would think it would be. They got heat on Sheamus at first, and mostly people didn't care. And then Mysterio got the tag, made the comeback, and nice stuff. And then Dominic stopped him, and they went to a break. And then they came back, and they had the heat going on Ray. And finally, he hit actually an illegal tag on Cena because John was reaching under the top rope. So it actually didn't count, but nevertheless, big comeback. Everybody hit some kind of move. And then the heels, all three, JD hit Cena with a moonsault. Finn hit him with a double stomp off same buckle. And then Dominic off same buckle with the splash. And all three of them covered him like the old midget match spot. And then the other faces made the save at the count of two. They got the triple 10 beats from the Bowery. And the triple you can't see me. And then Ray hit a double 619 on Finn and JD, and Cena attitude adjusted JD 1-2-3. So it was a spot show match, and the fans loved it. That's exactly what they wanted to see. They didn't need to do anything different. And Dominic was out of the ring when the pinfall was made. So they could have done that much better.
Did you see them going to the back?
I didn't really pay any attention.
With
as
Rey
long
Mysterio
as
on Cena's back.
Anybody.
Rey Mysterio was on Cena's back. It just looked like they were having a party going back. But that's the final time in MSG for John Cena. This 6-man match.
And you could tell this was what people in New York viewed this as a big deal, and that's what they came to see. And you had to make them as happy as possible. So the right move here.
Well, Jim, there was more happening on Raw. What else did you watch?
Well, there was a John Cena tournament match with Solo, and Nick Nemeth came back. And while his work is incredible, I could give two shits about Solo these days. So Nemeth got him into it. He had him believing he might do it, and then Solo spiked him.
Dolph Ziggler, for the people who don't know who he's talking about.
Well, I actually don't remember listening to them call him by name. Did they call him Dolph or did they call him Nick?
No, he was Dolph Ziggler.
Was he Dolph?
Yeah.
Well, the people up there know anyway. Becky Lynch wrestled Model Girl for apparently the 150th time for the Women's Intercontinental title. And this time, AJ Lee came out and distracted Becky Lynch, and Model Girl hit a crossbody off the top rope, 1-2-3, and won the belt. Brian, I don't know if you had any time to watch this to see if she's any better than she used to be, but maybe we'll...
I did watch this. I still don't like the whole AJ Lee skip it to the ring thing. I know I may be out on a limb here, but it's just not for me. However, besides that small thing, I think Maxine Dupree gets people behind her, and that kind of makes the match. Because the whole point is like, can she really do anything? You know, like you're waiting to see, can she pull it off? There may have been a few botches. It may not have been the smoothest affair. But the fans were really, again, it was a hot crowd. And they sensed that there was going to be a title change. And when it finally happened, they were really happy.
So what you're saying is the people are so convinced that she's going to just fuck everything up that if she doesn't actually accidentally fall out of the ring right in front of them, they get behind her.
The people were very happy. They were very happy.
That's good psychology, though. It is. All righty, but there was a John Cena tournament match between Gunther and Javon Evans. I may want to adopt Javon Evans. I love him. This was perfect. This is Gunther excels at a big man, little man match by keeping it logical, but still exciting. It's one-sided physically, but it's not a one-sided match because he calls the thing to where these fucking guys have logical things they can do and that he can miss because they're quicker and a smaller and a whatever. Evans has not only great fire, but great babyface body language. He fights from underneath. He sells great. He's got feistiness all over him that won't quit. That boy bouncy. And Gunther, the match, he stayed in control, but he gave Evans plenty of hope spots to where all that could be shown. There was a clear babyface and a clear heel. They didn't use any furniture. They didn't bury the referee. It's almost like, I mean, Evans is still green. His punches, he has a lot of enthusiasm. Some might need to be worked on, but it's not like the kids over on the other channel where they don't even fucking try. It's like that these guys are doing an exhibition of what wrestling used to look like before they fucked it all up. And they did a great spot to go to break at one point where Evans exploded with his comeback and did some of his fancy shit and then did a dive, but Gunther caught him in midair and just ran him into the ring apron. But when they came back, they were having a slugfest and a back and forth, and Evans got a big dive, had a crossbody off the top, and a big splash, and got a 2 count that got a pop because they were convinced he was going to do it. And then Gunther stopped him and got the suplex to power bomb and got a 2 count. And he got the sleeper, but Evans was fighting. But finally, he had to tap out. It was competitive, but not overly so. Gunther, this was not a pay-per-view match with a long-running, heated opponent. This was him and a young kid on the way up. So the kid fought, but he still tapped out. And it didn't take Gunther a hand grenade to do it. But this was lovely. What'd you think of him?
I really enjoyed the match. Thought it was interesting that Gunther came out to his old music when he was Walter in NXT. I guess my question for you would be, what are your thoughts on how they're bringing up Javon Evans? The first time we noticed him on the main roster was the Sami Zayn match, the Open Challenge. Really good match, Sami won. Now here, again, he's against the top guy, but again, the other guy wins. We've talked previously about Tommy Rich in Georgia, getting him over. I'm not saying this is the same thing, but what do you think about the fact they brought him in and it's 2 high-profile losses?
This is the difference between what they're doing here and what Tony does when he just brings everybody in and beats them repeatedly. It's that they not only have the competitive matches that they always lose, which this is 2 big ones for Javon, but it blends in with they do it the same way with everybody. in this case, if somebody comes in to the WWE on the main roster that they're trying to push to get over, they certainly win more than they lose. It's at least equal. But when it's somebody like this kid, well, they did the same thing with Sami Zayn at various points. You can beat him because he is the underdog, but he tries and he almost makes it, and finally he does. And they did the same thing when 1-2-3 Kid was just some skinny job guy, but suddenly he beat Razor Ramon. That was a big goddamn deal. I would think at some point over the next little while, Javon Evans will get a big win in some fashion. If he doesn't, and they just keep using him like this, then I don't think that's very beneficial. But it looks like what they're leading up to is making the people specifically focus on this guy and wanting to see him win something. That's the way, rather than just bringing somebody in and they do a job in the match and then an angle occurs with other people involved. And who was in that match that lost? We don't even remember. If you're going to beat a guy like this, is the perfect guy to beat the underdog, but focus on how closer he comes until you get the people ready to see him win the big one. It's psychology in where you're going with people, rather than they're going to have a great match and then you win. That's superficial, shallow thought.
Silly thought, probably. Do you think they're going to turn Gunther babyface?
I don't. I think he's the honorable heel. I don't think he needs to be turned. I think he should stay like he is, but it depends on who he's wrestling. He's the honorable one of the heels. He has some type of code to him. The ring is sacred. So he's not like a full-fledged glory hound egomaniac heel. But I wouldn't fuck with him. If he becomes a baby face, it almost kind of, it weakens definitely the reason why people kind of get into him to begin with. So he's this big Dick York looking fucking nerd.
That's right. That's why people got into him, because he's a big Dick York looking nerd.
Well, you know what I mean.
Usually does the
part
trick.
Of the heat.
They got to find a big Dick Sargent looking nerd for when he jumps to
well,
AEW.
Hey, whichever big dick you want, Gunther's the man.
Well, let's get away from that. But Javon Evans, any final thoughts on, I mean, you have been effusive.
Yes.
About him. Any final thoughts?
Yes, that's why I say they ought to make him the guy that's featured doing a lot of the shit that all the luchadors do with the, interchangeable fucking mask gimmicks, and the various diving, because he needs to be the guy that they let do 90% of that shit, and he'll be a fucking massive star.
Well, of course, Jim, when in there with Gunther, you best know how to sell. And on the topic of selling, a lot of people have products to sell. A lot of people have businesses producing products to sell. A lot of people need a helping hand out there in that scary world of e-commerce. And we know a place, we know a group, a people of sorts that we can point you to, our good friends at Shopify. That's right, Jim. Shopify.
There's that button. Yes, it's actually a close-knit, secretive society of people who live in the shadows that know how to help you make money off the people who live out in the light. That's right, you can stick it to the light creatures while remaining a subterranean type of dweller with Shopify. Because they'll just fix you right up. You do not have to pop your head above the surface with Shopify. They'll lead you by the hand or by the ear, grab you by the tip of the dick, whatever they got to do to drag you into the modern times with it.
Well, no, they won't grab.
Multi-million-dollar e-commerce business they got going on.
Let's leave the genitalia out of this, but let's talk about a helping hand for business. Of course, we all need someone to handle our e-commerce. We trust them, Jim, with our store. And everyone else.
I thought you were going to mean we trust them with our genitalia.
No, that's not what I mean. Stop it. Let's
speak about genitalia only in generalities, folks. You know, you can't do it yourself. You're just a small bird in a big cage in this wonderful world of today. You need the big boys behind you. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. 10% of all the e-commerce in the United States. As long as we've been quoting that statistic, I bet you they're up to 18% now.
Well, we can't actually cite any statistics, so you shouldn't say that you think.
Well, it's a true fact of things that you allege. What if you can't design a website? They can. If you need a hand, they've got a hand they can give you. It doesn't matter whether you need a website job or a hand job. They can help you with anything.
No,
what if people haven't heard?
Ladies and gentlemen, they are there to help you if you need a website. They are there to help you if you need, again,
a helping hand.
Sales you can trust. You know what's going on. The money will be there.
Hands across the water. What if people haven't heard about your brand after Shopify gets finished running their mouths? They will. Shopify will tell everything they know about you. Don't confide in them.
That's not how it works. That's not how
Shopify's going to spread it all over the world. They will get on the
spread anything. You stop.
Email campaigns, social media campaigns. They are going to blanket the world with everything they know about. People are going to be talking about you from the time you get up until the time you go to bed.
People will leave you alone.
Shopify can't keep their mouth shut.
People will leave you alone. And of course, Shopify is only there when you need them. They will leave you alone and handle your business the way you want. They customize for you. You pick what you want to do, go where you want to go, be who you want to be, control your business. Of course, just like Antonio Inoki. What the fuck? Antonio Inoki controlled his business. Shinma must have gotten to this thing right here.
Go where you want to go. Be what you want to be. I think that's the new Christie Minstrels. And remember, Shopify's got a big mouth and they'll tell everybody about what you're doing and people will start sending you money all over the place. But right now, you can sign up for a $1 a month trial period. That's all it's going to cost you for them to put their beneficence upon you and give you that hand job, the up that you need, the hand up.
No, again,
pull yourself up by your own
hand up
straps, whatever you're strapped to.
Hands across
Shopify,
America.
Hands across the ocean, the water. Shopify.com/JCE. The $1 a month trial period is what that is for Shopify.com. And it's $1 a month is all it is. Shopify.com/JCE for that thing there.
Oh, actually, Shopify.com/Cornette.
Oh, well, even different then.
Actually, a way to differentiate us from them over there at the Experience, that team.
Have we got another team?
You can use Shopify.com/Cornette.
Just disregard everything I said after the things that I said. Shopify.com/Cornette. CORNETTE. Not Tiger Balm. But Shopify.com/Cornette will get you that $1 a month trial period and get us credited in the right place where you can't do the other unless you're listening to the other show. Just get us a hand job. Just remember that.
No, don't remember that. No, ladies and gentlemen, no hand jobs. We shouldn't even be saying that. What we're talking about, once again, is Shopify.com/Cornette.
Yes, /Cornette. Remember that. It's a very important part of the equation.
Shopify, Jim.
That's, every time an angel gets a hand job.
Let's not say that, but Jim, let's get back to WWE Raw.
Well, the only thing to get back to is the big main event interview. And there, Paul came out with his group of Bronze and the Reed and Breaker and Logan Paul, and Drew McIntyre's with him now. He's made an unholy deal with Alfred Hitchcock. And Paulie did his thing. He introduced everybody and put them all over as the greatest team ever for the War Games. And as soon as he got started, like a Mussolini in MSG, coming to join the party, 'cause he's the cult of hand jobs on Broadway. Now with tomato, I don't know what I'm doing.
Whether it's on Broadway or behind the dumpster, folks, let's get back to Raw.
So he comes out in the small entranceway, and maybe it was the small entranceway, but it looks like the Grinch's heart has grown 2 sizes that day. Punk looks 20 pounds bigger and 20 years younger than he did in AEW. Have you noticed? It's like a burden of weight has been lifted off of him. And he came down the long aisle to the ring, and he stopped at ringside, but he's alone. And the announcers are, oh my God, he's alone. And then the Usos music plays. And both of the Usos yeeted through the crowd and down to ringside, but they're still outnumbered. But then Cody music. And Cody came down the aisle, and the baby faces surrounded the heels, and they got in a big fight. And everybody hit the floor except Logan Paul and Punk leveled Logan Paul, say that 3 times fast. And then music hits. It's Brock's music. Holy shit. And the people now, they're losing their mind. They've been with this whole fucking thing. And Brock comes to the ring, and he German suplexes Punk twice. And after he suplexes Punk, he starts fighting with Cody, and he suplexes Cody twice. And as he stands up, there's the credits are on the screen. And you think, holy shit. And then the music plays, and it's Roman. And this was the only part of it that I didn't like. All the top talent, including Cody, they all disappeared as Roman walks to the ring purposefully forever. And they have the face-off. Where did all those other they're just laying there. I think if Roman could have hit with a little more expeditiousness and got to the point, but nevertheless, Brock and Roman get in a fight. And Roman Superman punches Brock to the floor, but Bronson Reed stops Roman and goes to the top to splash him, but Roman comes up and Superman punches him. And then they actually had fake cops in uniform. Brian, you've seen a lot of cops in New York City. Do any of them look like these guys did?
No, none of them look like indie workers. None of them look like next week they'll be holding Mercedes Moné's belts.
Have you ever seen any cops in New York City with uniforms as well-fitting or clean as these?
Oh, no, I know some people high up in the food chain, yeah. I've seen clean.
Well, I mean just down on the street, the street patrol.
No.
Well, nevertheless, the cops hit, and Roman speared Reed through the barricade, and we went off the air. But the War Games are fast approaching. Oh, joy of bliss.
It was a relief because they announced the War Games and they only had 4-on-4, and I was like, it doesn't work. It has to be 5-on-5, I think.
Well, if you don't have 5-on-5, they can't strive to survive.
Well, now you have really a packed, talk about the main eventers for the last year. Punk, Cody, and Roman all together. And Jey Uso's been a big thing, so the Usos back together. Logan Paul, Brock in War Games. And now we have to compare this to the blood and guts matches we just saw.
You think that's going to be like comparing some kind of goddamn blockbuster $100 million Marvel Universe movie to the little indie down the street from San Luis Obispo? These are all major stars with incredible television promotion behind them, and they'll probably do more than, one would in a traditional War Games match, but it's not going to be the ridiculousness of what we just saw with AEW, who every indie-minded thought and inspiration they get can instantly be brought to fruition because they have no restraint and a Mark's the boss. And they're not, I would think, going to be just entering and leaving the cage at will and back and forth and etc. And I don't believe we're going to be seeing anybody swimming in fucking blood, but at least their names. So let's see what the star power does. And they're going to have, 30,000 people in a stadium. So it should be an interesting spectacle, at least.
Well, that was WWE Raw at Madison Square Garden.